think this is a part of why um, I joined politics also.
Shawn Huff is now on a mission to bring communities in Finland together through sport for social good. Shawn Huff is highly skilled and accomplished Finnish basketball player who has acquired great success both domestically and internationally. His talent and dedication have made him one of the most respected and admired player in Finnish basketball history. Shawn has been instrumental in Finnish recent success in basketball, but more than anything else, he's a loving husband and father, but also an adored child of his parent.
We belong here, and we're a community, and there isn't only one type of Finnish person, but there's a wide range of people who fit the description of being Finnish.
Sean, I have spent long time trying to get to sit down with you for this interview, and finally we're here. And I am so happy that you're able to make it this time. And I want to thank you for that. Importantly, because of the work or your career within the Finnish basketball game that you've managed to be part of the team that have moved the Finnish basketball forward, and then also because of the work that you do as the SNK city councillor and the board member in the culture and leisure. So those are like big things. And I think I would like to start by asking you, who is Shawn? What are your what is your upbringing, and how did you find passion in basketball?
First of all, thanks for having me. Thank you for the patience. It's been a long time coming, and I'm also happy that we finally have this chance to do this pod and talk about important issues. And well, if you ask who am I, uh, I don't know. It's a story, and it develops. You sometimes you want to talk about your career as basketball, and sometimes with athletes that becomes your identity. That you're a basketball player, but also I like to think of myself as a father of two kids and a husband, and also I think playing for the national team and playing a lot of years outside of Finland made me also realize my Finnish roots and kind of connect also with that. Growing up here with the Finnish mother, and my father is from the States, but he moved here and still lives here and has acquired a citizenship. So growing up here kind of brought me back to my roots, and I think right now, as I see my identity as a Finnish black man, trying to fight for the rights for human rights in Finland, and also I think fight for the identity of black and brown Finns, that also we belong here, and we're a community, and there isn't only one type of Finnish person, but there's a wide range of people who fit the description of being Finnish.
Sure, sure, excellent. I think that's good to know. So if I may ask you, so who were some of your biggest basketball inspiration growing up, and how did that sort of influence your game?
Well, I think from my age, you're born in the '80s. I think one of your idols has to be Michael Jordan, of course, with the Chicago Bulls. The man was an icon, and what he did is unbelievable. But I think also my dad played a big part. He came here play basketball, so at first I didn't really want to play basketball. It wasn't my thing. until maybe later as a kid when I was 12 years old, which is quite late. I found the inspiration through NBA playing cards and watching NBA, and I've kind of found the inspiration to play basketball and in that way, my idols in the NBA, maybe Michael Jordan, Sean Kemp at the time, but then as a close mentor, of course, my father and my first coach, Tomi Kaminen, brought me a long way as a basketball player.
Good. So yeah, I mean, it's always good that at least hearing that you have some sort of inspiration from your dad. I think that's a good thing to know. Good to know that at least your father has played an important role in that respect. The national team has made like good progress and over the years, and and that's partly because of your contribution. And how does that even make you feel to be part of that success? And what do you think that needs to be done to make Finland continue to grow in this direction?
Well, I think there was a time, maybe in the 60s, where basketball and ice hockey were almost even, and we even went to the Olympics in basketball, and we had a great team with some legends. But what happened was the organization, and to build a basketball culture, it kind of never got. They never built on that golden generation of players, and I was lucky. I was lucky now to be a part of kind of a second golden generation in the 2000 and the 2010s, where we had a lot of good players come up in the same age group, and we had good coaches, but not only that, we had good organizations, and we wanted to build something. We wanted to build a foundation. We didn't only want to be, one good team and go to one championships, but we wanted to build the foundations where young players can look up and they can come and we can build more players. And I think sports has always played a big part in Finnish culture. And it used to be more track and field and more individual sports a long time
Yeah.
ago. And I think now we see that in a lot of team sports, we have brought up a lot of good coaches, and we see that the teamwork and how we play in teams with different national team levels, ice hockey, volleyball, even football lately making the European Championships, and also with us in basketball, that we are kind of building a culture of being good at team sports. And this is something that I'm very proud of, this legacy that we left. And you see it in the young players' eyes now when they come. They are even more hungry. They're not surprised to be playing against big countries, but they expect to beat them, and they feel like they're in the same level. And I'm proud that I could be a part of this legacy, and I could be part of building this.
Excellent, excellent. It's yeah. So in that sense, it's also good to know that the mindset of people have been like changing. I think that is due to also the technology, and then of course the connectivity among people. So knowing that what is happening in the state today can actually reflect on how people are behaving in Finland or other places in the world. So you've played for obviously for different varieties of teams throughout your career. Are there any sort of teammates or coaches who have actually particularly played an important role in your career that you can remember?
As I said earlier, about my father and my first coach. It was also, my father's friends. The Americans who came with him here. They played also a big part of bringing me up and teaching me about culture and tactics and skills. And if we go to different coaches, I feel like along the way, different coaches give you, of course, different things. College. Uh, I had a great shooting coach, Bryce Drew, and we fixed my shot, and it made me a even better shooter than I was before. And then just throughout your career as playing a career as a professional is very difficult. It's a high pressure situation. if you don't perform, you're out, and you have to look for another place to play, and it's difficult. So,
Mm,
so in that sense, you learn how to kind of how brutal it is, and you learn to build a thick skin and how to survive in these situations. And I can't forget the longtime national team head coach Henrik Detman, of course, who who's even more than a coach to me, has become a mentor of sorts, and a teacher of not only basketball but also life in a way. So there are also, for every person who succeeds in anything in life, there are also always a lot of people around him who have influenced this and helped him on the way. And there's rarely, if ever, you can accomplish anything by yourself. And I think that is something that I have learned playing basketball.
definitely, definitely. I cannot agree more. People, they say in African proverb, or in African saying, that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And knowing that, there are really important people in our lives makes life more meaningful and beautiful. So still on your career in basketball, what are your, like, if I could just, if you could talk to, I also know that you said that, the mindset have changed over the years, in
Mm,
terms of people not being scared of facing bigger teams or
yeah.
bigger names, that they're just ready to play, and that sort of thing. So what advice would you give to young basketball players and young people who are actually looking to succeed in the game?
I would say, first of all, I would say, set goals, set dreams of what you want to do. And uh, after you set the dream, make plans. Plan. Don't just make a dream and then, go about your day. If you have a if you make a goal and you don't plan and you don't work, it's only a wish. It doesn't. So like for me, my goal was to make the NBA, and I tried to make the NBA. I didn't make the NBA, but because this was my goal, it allowed me to become the player that I am. I still had a career in Europe and Finland, and I still got to play meaningful games for the national team and became the national team captain. So I would say set goals, and then sit down and plan how will you get there, and and be ready to work hard for it, and understand that success, it isn't linear. It's not one line that keeps going up, up,
Yeah.
up, up, up. Sometimes you fall down. Sometimes you take a step back, so you can take two steps forward. And I think this is a part of life, and growing up. And I know it's a cliche of saying, but it's not. It's not about how you fall down. It's how you get up, and how you're ready to face adversity. So I think that would be my advice for the younger players.
Excellent one. I think, talking about, falling down and getting up, and, having goals, which are incredibly important. Do you think in today's culture that, you know, like, what is your feeling around this kind of attitude of actually, owning up to your own destiny,
Yeah.
understanding that, there is always, you know, like you said, life is not, it's not just one way or a linear path. Like, there are so many things, and things can be thrown at us. There are challenges, there are difficulties, but we understanding, or people understanding that, we need to just put ourselves together and just, keep going, and always find strength within. What's your take? Like, how do you see the society evolving in this sort of in this way of thinking?
Well, I think it's two parts. I think the first part is, you set your goal, but you have to understand that sometimes the journey is the goal. You know,
Yeah.
my sometimes the journey is the goal. Sometimes the work you put in, and the time you spend with your teammates and those experiences. Sometimes that is why you set the goal, to go through that journey, and the journey is part of it. And I think we have to understand to enjoy that moment too when we go, because these moments, they don't they don't always last forever. I think the last years, especially in my career, I kind of realized uh, how privileged I am to play with the national team, and I really started to enjoy the moment of being with those guys and playing with them. And I think that's important. And I think if I touch on the second part of the culture today is understanding that things take time. We're kind of in a culture now because of technology and everything. We
Mm,
get everything now. We
mm,
think if I want to watch any movie, I just go and I watch it right now. Before it comes to the movie
mm.
theaters, and then if you miss in the movie theaters, now I gotta wait 3-4 months for this. And it was the same thing with I think maybe we were more patient before because we were used to waiting, and now
Mm.
I think now maybe we have to kind of look back and teach ourselves more patience and more waiting and understand that not everything comes at once, but sometimes you have to work and you have to wait, and it's a process of getting there.
Mm. Obviously, I mean, I've seen you, looking from, outside, just from outside looking in. I like to say that you are very disciplined and very hardworking person. But how do you balance your career and your professional life and then also personal life? How do you balance both to make sure like you have time for your family and some other things that you enjoy?
It's very difficult. I would say that to be a professional athlete, you have to be a little bit selfish,
Okay.
and it means that you're working, you the work that you put in to become a professional athlete, to become very good. In some way,
Mm,
you're always a little bit selfish, because you think
mm,
about you and how you will get your career. But you have to understand this also as a person, and then you have to understand that the people around you, your friends and family that support
mm,
you, and you have to respect, also their sacrifice for you, and
mm,
and kind of the sacrifice that your family makes. And I think in this case, my spouse, my wife, the sacrifices she makes, so I could play professional basketball, and you have to
mm,
respect that sacrifice for family. And then also understand that okay, so if I want to play basketball professional, it's going to take a lot of time. And then what else do I want to do? If I want to be with my family, well, then I have to make time also for my family and be with my family, and understand that I might not have a lot of time for anything else, and 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 this might be the case, but you have to be brutally honest to yourself and think about what's important in your life and put those things, maybe make a list, and then understand that the things that are at the bottom of the list you might have to cut out of your life, and focus on the things that's on top. And this is maybe the sacrifice that you have to make as a person.
wow. This is so interesting to hear because I can hear the echo of family within
Yeah.
what you're trying to explain, and which for me also, like I said before we started this discussion, that family is something that is very very important to me. And maybe we should talk a bit about family now, and then let's see. You know, so first of all, let me just give you a little bit of context what I mean by me, like being so big on family thing, because I think even you remember the time where we had a bit of a chat in the
Yes.
metro, and I showed you the project that I'm working on.
Yes.
The reason is because after living so long in Finland and seeing the differences or the things that I think that could be better, because I believe that there's no country or there's no place that is perfect. There's always something to learn. There's always something to improve on.
Yes.
So, and I think in this area, like Finland could do better or they could do more by understanding that we can't live alone. We are not just
Hmm.
we are not meant to be alone.
This is
As
true.
simple as that.
Yeah,
You
we're
know
meant to be a part of something always.
exactly, and that is where the joy and the blessing of like the fulfillment of life comes from. that you are not you are like in African sort of way, the way we live, okay, is such that we function as a unit, but also have the freedom and the possibility to go for our individual aspiration, dreams, and that sort. But at the same time, we are just we're just part of a bigger unit, if I say.
Hmm.
So it's within the society now, and of course the way the culture is going here in the Western society, it's more like things are going like me just me kind of thinking, which is not like really helpful in the long run. But anyway, I think the point I'm trying to make is that growing up, I wanted to be the best son to my mom, to my grandma, everyone around me, father. So that was just my like one big thing that I wanted to do so badly. I want, regardless of whatever is happening, and that means that I need to take my school seriously. That means that everything I'm doing, I took that. Of course, my parents are no more, they are no longer living, but I still do everything I do today thinking, if I did that, what would my parent think of me? How would that make them feel? Just me living my life like that have given me some sort of I have drew like that drives some kind of strength in my view of life and how I approach things. So um, that has been part of my life, and it guides everything I do. And then the second thing is about my siblings. I have sisters. I've always wanted to be the best uh, brother that they could have. And then thinking about now, because I'm also married, I have a child. Um, I've also wanted to be a good husband. Um, of course, um, Suvi said that. Suvi is my wife, so she said that I'm a good husband and an amazing father, which is really great to know. But more than anything else, I want to be, or I see myself as the best dad ever. Um, and that's something that I I hold very very dear. So that responsibility to be a dad, I don't take it lightly. I want to be there for my child, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like just grounded. Anything I think I could do to make her life better, and then also to contribute to other people's life. That's just something that I'm so fascinated about. So I want to ask you, what kind of dad are you?
What kind of dad?
Yeah.
Um, I would like to, I would like to think I'm a great dad, that I do the things. I have to say first of all, to start, I have to say that, I have so much respect, for what my own dad did to me growing up, and the way he was a role model and how he raised me. Of
Mm,
I could always count on my own dad, and I could always joke with him. But he also always told me where the lines are. That these are the
exactly.
lines. So he was always the father first, and after
Mm,
that he can maybe be friend, but always the father first. He's
mm,
the one who taught me that if I don't work hard in school, I don't play basketball, because he understand. He wanted me to understand that because I love basketball, that I also have to take care of my school, because this is the work of a child that you have to accomplish, and
mm,
the things that he teach me. And I want to think of myself as a father of putting my kids in the best position to succeed in life, and this is, teaching them values uh, of how to behave, how to treat other people with respect, and how to be respectful, but also how to treat them, also teach them to be hardworking, and to have dreams and to have goals, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think this is a big thing today, is just to, don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, you know. I tell my kids, I'm your father. I make a mistake, and I want to be open to them too. And I want to say, you know, if you see me doing something, you can all, even though you're my child, you can still say me, Dad, that's not right, you know. And you know,
Mm,
and we can have a conversation. In the end, I am the father, so I have to make the decision. But I also want it to be open, where you don't have to. You always respect your parents, but you don't have to be afraid. You never have to be
mm,
afraid of me. And I think this takes a lot of balance where I have to set the lines, but I also want to show a lot of love and emotional support for my kids, so they're not so they understand that even though I set the lines, and sometimes if I'm hard on them or tough, and I ask them to do a lot of things that they understand it's from a place of love, and they understand that I love them, and they can show their emotions around me all the time. And it's a complex task, and I think being a father teaches you a lot as a person of who you are. And it also teaches your connection to your own parents, because you realize what they went through at that point.
exactly.
Yeah. And you start to think,
That's
and
so
you
true.
call your father and you say, hey, I think maybe I was wrong when I was a kid, you know. So I, I think it's a very complex, but I think in the end, when my children grow up, I want them to be able to say that, you know, even though my father was a hardworking man, I could always count on him to be there and show me emotional support, but also, you know, teach me how to be the person that I am today.
Excellent way. Excellent way. I mean, you just put it nicely, and at least that's what we all need, to have that our kids can count on, right?
Yes.
Because there's a lot going on in the world today, and we barely people, most people are also like not sure of what to do and who to turn
Mhm.
to, and having that support system grounded from in us as parents is obviously a good thing for kids to have. So, what exactly could you remember what, let's say, your teenage years was like? Let's say 16, 15, 16, 17, 19. What were you doing? Were you, because some people like start a bit early in life,
Mhm.
they know what they want to do, and then they start, just putting effort and going at that. And some also maybe it happened at down, later down in their lives and stuff. So how was your teenage years like? What were you doing, if you could remember?
Uh, I think I always knew I wanted to be a basketball player. So this was my goal even as a teenager, and I was very driven to become a good basketball player. But I
Mm,
think, in a sense, I was still a normal teenager, you know,
mm,
doing silly teenager stuff, and but 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 always kind of understanding the lines, you know, that there are some lines that you don't want to cross and you don't want to go over. And I think my parents were very good of, you know, of saying, you know, if I handle my things that I'm supposed to do, you know, when I'm maturing as a teenager, meaning that, you know, if I do the school like I'm supposed to do, and you know, if I don't get in trouble, and you know, and so on, then, you know, I get more freedom, you know, to be out with my
mm,
friends and to do things. I get more freedom. But, you know, if
mm.
you start to slip, you know, in school or your chores or things you need to do, then, you know, the rules get tighter, you know. And
Yeah.
I think my parents were very I think in this they kind of, you know, helped me, because I think generally I was a pretty good kid, so I didn't, you know, I didn't have they didn't have to stress about me too much about things. But, you know, I was still a normal teenager.
Excellent. So what are the key life lessons then for our teenage um, kids in Finland? If you would like to just say, like, give them some few key life lessons, something that they should put in
I
their.
I'd say it's okay, even if you're a teenager. I say it's
Mm,
okay to, you know, not know what you want to do in life. You know, I was, you know, when I was coming to the end of basketball, and I was, you know, my late 30s, I still didn't know what I want to do. So it's okay. I think it's a part of life, but still,
Mm,
I think, and because of that, I would say you have to have the courage to try things and to fail. Because if you don't have the courage to try, you will never know what you want to do in life. And I think that would be my kind of advice is don't be stressed about not knowing what you want to do. Just try different things, do different stuff, and in the end you will find out who you are as a person, and you will enjoy the journey, and for sure you will find the things that you like and want to do.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Part of setting up this platform where we could reach out to specifically our community, like the African and foreigners in this country, was because I felt that, of course, knowing what I know now, I would have maybe taken a different path in life if I had someone who has obviously guided me when I came to Finland.
Hmm.
But of course, I was just on my own doing things, trial by error and all this. So, and I think there are some kids also that came here. I mean, there are some kids here, there are some people here within our community that don't necessarily understand how the system works, and they're just living day to day, and even if there are a lot of information there, they don't know how to access them and all that sort of thing. Which is why I think like people like you also could help us. Like, let me just share some few typical example about what I'm trying to say. So there was one family from Nigeria. So they've lived here now for maybe yeah, the guy have lived here for over, let's say, about even 30 years, and the wife has been here for about 15 or more years. Uh, and they didn't quite understand. So they have a daughter that want to uh, have like very much basketball. She want to get into the some of the basketball teams around. They didn't even know what to do. Even simple something simple and straightforward as that, like search for the teams and then see like is there like free ones to for her to start off with, or is there some teams that are actually have that they need to pay for and all that. They did not quite understand, and it sounds like it's so obvious and very straightforward, but it isn't. So that is why we thought like, okay, once we have like get some kind of, because I can personally within the immigrant community, I'm not born here, so we came just trying things on our own,
Hmm.
bumping heads in so many
Yes.
places, trying to survive and succeed. So it's much more challenging and much more difficult for people like us. So having and then of course to some within some of us within this community that think that people like us can help them or can give them information. And for me also the information or the access I have is also very limited. It's also limited. So in a way I thought that okay, I can also be talking to people separately, and so when we have a platform like this and through that we can render some certain help and then mobilize in a way that people can move forward. So, do you have any kind of sort of message for our people here, and um, what sort of area they should be looking for if they need some kind of help in terms of information, in terms of access to job, education to their kids, and all that kind of. The list goes on basically.
I think I
Yeah.
think this is a part of why um, this is a part of why I joined politics also is to influence especially different hobbies and sports and even arts and culture, because I want to bring those closer to the people, closer to
Mm,
people, so they know, so they don't have to search, and it's not so difficult to be a part. Because if we talk about maybe if we talk about immigrant families or families who have moved here, I
mm,
think I think part of joining the culture and being part of culture, I think arts and music and sports can have a big part in this. And And for me, how I see how this should be is because all the kids are in school. Every kid is in school. I think the schools can play a big part in this. And I have done some work in a basketball club where we do this, and I have also been in the school afternoons where we go to the schools and we do basketball camp there, and we can kind of, we bring the basketball to the school. So
Yeah.
then if a kid wants to play basketball, they can talk to us, hey, I want to play basketball. And
Mm.
then, we can go to the club. We can go to the club and we can show how it works with all the kids. And I think that's the way to go. Is we have to bring more of the clubs into the school so we can have the sports there, and it's easier also for the parents if the sports is also in the school, because you know where your school is always. You might
Mm.
not know where the practice is, but you always know where your school is and where your kid is going to school.
Mm.
And I think that's one big dream of mine, is to bring this sports and hobbies, in a bigger way into the school system, where it is possible for everybody, not
Mm.
only the people who know about it, but also for all the kids in school. If they say to their parents, hey, I want to play the basketball, then you already know that, hey, the school can, they have a program, they help you, and they put you in touch with the club. I'd say other thing about the messaging and the system. I think because you have the city, and then you have the private clubs that run the hobbies and everything. I think the city can do a better job of kind of communicating what are all the hobbies in Helsinki right now.
Mm.
In your neighborhood, Monday you can do this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, and kind of bring a platform. And I think this is
Mm.
something that the city has been looking into, of bringing a platform where you can find all these things, and it would be easy
Mm.
for people to find and bring together, because my whole thing is bringing people together. I see sports,
Mm.
how sports has brought so many people together in my life, and I see the power of this, and I want to bring this power to the people within the system. But for me to I figure, for me, best way for me to help is to go into politics and help from there. Be a part of
Mm.
the decision making, to make things easier, like for the family you were talking about. So it's easier for them to find out, and they know, because it's not so obvious for every person.
True, true. Yeah, I mean, that's good to know that at least these are some of the the driving factors that is making you also want to be part of the the politics to make things work better for everyone. And I guess I wanted to even ask, like what are your professional goals and for the next few years, but you already mentioned a bit that politics is one of those, and that you're getting ready. And my understanding is that you're going for the parliamentary
Yes.
seats, right?
Yes, I'm running for parliament from Helsinki.
Mm.
Uh, you can vote me with 223 in Helsinki.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
That was what 2 to 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you guys said it now. Two to
Yeah,
three.
yeah,
So.
223 is all you have to know from Helsinki area. And yes, I think being 2 years working as a counselor in Helsinki, which is it's not the kind of job, people who work there, they also have other jobs in their life. But I figured, politics, I want to influence change and be a part of the decision making process. And for me, a
Mm.
big part is schools and hobbies and sports and bringing these closer to
Mm.
people. And that's why I felt like I have the responsibility, because I have a platform, and I was the captain and I was speaking about human rights. I felt like I had the responsibility to kind of be a voice and be heard, and go out there and try to really influence change. And I think that's my motivation for going into politics, and that's why I'm running right now for parliament.
Accessing power for change, for impact is like really a good cause. So is there anything that we can do to actually help your candidacy for the election, please. If
I
there's
think.
anything the community can do and where we can vote in order to get
uh,
more information, that would be
well, I think voting starts 22nd.
yeah.
Wait, let me think. Yeah, 22nd voting starts, and the pre-voting, and pre-voting you can vote in almost any library. It doesn't matter, and all you need to have is your ID with you.
Mhm.
You do have to be a Finnish citizen to vote in the
Yeah,
parliament elections,
yeah,
but because in the county elections you don't have to be. You only have to be a resident.
true.
So I think, and then the pre-election you can vote anywhere, and all you need to do is take your ID with you. You don't need anything else. You just need your ID, and then if you don't want to vote, and you can go to any library during pre-election, and then election day, April 2nd, you have to go to your voting place, which they usually tell you by mail, or they send you a electronic email where you can go and see your election place, and all you need is your ID with you, and then they have the people's names and the voting numbers. My voting number is 223. You can vote for me in Helsinki. And I would say the first thing is to vote if you want to influence. I think the second thing is to, if somebody asks you and they don't know who to vote, tell them tell them I have a good candidate for you and you can vote for him. And I think this is the second part. And then uh, you can always donate to the campaign. Any small amount helps. I have my links in my social media profiles where you can donate if you want to donate. And I think these are maybe the main ways to influence. But I would still like to say that no matter if you vote for me or not, if you have the right to vote, use it. Go vote. It
Yeah.
is it is our right to vote, and I think everyone should use it and go and try to find a candidate that's good for them, and just use your right to vote.
Sure, I think you have my vote. I will certainly put those links on the on this discussion. Yeah, you have my vote, obviously. For me personally, I don't vote for party per se. I vote for individual because I don't see myself as someone that belongs to any party. So it depends on the issues I'm focusing on at the time, and most importantly, the individual, right? So with the other things that you are trying to solve and the issues that you're bringing forward are something that are really, really important, I think. So you have my vote. And then, of course, if there's anything personally that I can do, I think we will have the discussion separately. I will send
Yes.
you some more emails so that you can tell me, because I can still reach out to some of our so people in our community just to make sure
Yes.
that you get through. So I'll be
Yeah.
delighted to help in any way.
Yes. I think this might be the biggest help, just kind of word of mouth, just talking
Yeah.
to people and telling this has a huge influence, and it's
Mm,
very, and thank you for your confidence in me, and I've huge respect, and thank you for this.
for sure, for sure. But yeah, it was really, really excellent discussing with you, and I have so much respect and admiration for you. You've done so much for yourself, for Finland, and I know that there's just a lot more that you are willing to do. So I just want to thank you. I just want to say that I appreciate everything you do, and I look forward to more conversations like this. And thank you, and let's stay connected.
Yeah, thank you, and I'll try not to wait this long time for the next conversation. We can have it sooner. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Shawn. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, cheers.